So you want to be a demigod, huh? You want to get that sweet, sweet cape that's coming up, right? I did too, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I kind of suck. Like, not bad, but like, I'm not cracked like some of these people you see on YouTube or Twitch. So what I've done is I've found the easiest path to demigod. Not the best, but the easiest for scrubs like me. This isn't a guide on how to get good at Dirk and Dirker. There's many other much better content creators who can show you how to do that. If you're looking, Ryan 6 days a week is fantastic for actually learning how the mobs attack and how to dodge or block those. Otherwise, go look up your main on YouTube or Twitch. And plenty of the top players have guides on how to PvP and other tips and tricks for you. Before I get into the path itself on how to get to demigod, let's go over the system that actually gets you there. Adventure points, also known as AP, is essentially the experience points that you're getting for going through high roller dungeons. You can view this on the high roller leaderboard page. You have your different ranks. It starts at neophyte, goes up to apprentice, wanderer, so on and so forth, up to demigod. If you view details on the high roller leaderboard, you'll actually see the different total required amounts of AP, and then also the dungeon entrance fee of AP. Basically, you have a running total of AP. You're trying to reach 36,000 in total, and every time you enter the dungeon, a certain amount of AP is extracted from your AP total. And so what that means is you want to get as much AP in every single run as physically possible in order to actually reach demigod. In the later stages, 300 to 500 AP or more is getting taken out, so you really got to make the most out of every single run possible. You can see how well you've done with the screen at the end of every single run. It'll lay out all of the things you did that gave you AP, which is everything. Every kill, interaction, all of it gives you AP, which we'll break down further in just a little bit. However, if you die, you don't get any of your AP and you lose your entrance fee. The last thing to note is that your group size has a different rank. So your solo, your duo, and your trio all have different ranks. So stick with one and keep going with it. So jumping right into it, the first tip to get to demigod is to play on the ruins map. The ruins leads to the crypt, and the crypt leads to Inferno. So more floors, which grant AP when you go down, more enemies, better loot, faster demigod. If you're able to survive Inferno, go for it. Make sure to kill everything you can, keep ranking up that AP. If you can't, it's not the worst thing in the world. You will have to take longer, especially during those later stages of the grind. If you're playing solo or duo, using the rotating map is definitely the easiest way to get AP. When running this map on rotation, you know that every single rotation happens every 30 minutes, and each level lasts exactly 15 minutes. So you go into the ruins, you extract as late as possible, you go into the crypt, you extract as late as possible, and you are ready to go for the next round. Refill on your potions, bandages, anything else you might need to, sell all your loot, and you can keep running it back to back. If you want to cheese, you can try to ready up at the last second possible to get almost completely empty lobbies many times. What I'd do is I would have a website like timeanddate.com on the side so I could ready up at the last 5 seconds possible. I've had times where playing this solo, I've had me and just one other guy in the entire lobby and we don't see each other the entire time we're grinding. If you're playing solo, the ruins map will spawn at every 20 minute and every 50 minute every single hour because the map rotation is every 30 minutes. So it'll last for 5 minutes. You're basically waiting for 12:54 to ready up. Moving on, the second tip I have is to avoid PvP as much as possible. Most people here are playing passively. We're all grinding out that cloak. Not everyone's going to be, so make sure to be careful. Don't turn your back to people. Don't immediately trust them. But most people are just trying to get this. If you don't have to PvP, then don't. The more you PvP, the more risk you have to lose AP. If you do have to PvP, and you can't run away from it, try to know your matchups. Fighters beating rogues, rogues beating warlocks, warlocks beating fighters. It's not going to be a guaranteed, rock, paper, scissors every time, but it does help knowing who you can kill and who you can't kill. If you are a PvP player, though, go for it. Kills are great. They grant around 30 to 40 AP, and you'll get a bunch of free loot. Speaking of loot, tip number 3, collect as much good loot as possible. Both lootable items, what you can sell to the collector, and gear grant you AP. The way I always see it is purple and blue lootables are the best. Then I go for purple items, then green lootables, then blue items, then white lootables. If I have to keep white lootables or blue items, I am having a bad run. That only goes for items that are in the looted loot state rather than the handled loot state. The reason why is anything that's handled, anything that's brought into the dungeon either from a previous run or purchased, will not give you any AP whatsoever. This is another reason why you should not bring coin bags into the run, because coin bags actually turn all the gold handled rather than being looted, which you shouldn't really be picking up gold and silver anyways. It's not really worth it if you can get blues and purples. So what I recommend is right off the cuff, when you're in the ruins, grab everything that's blue for gear or anything that is a green lootable or above, and then drop it once you find better loot and your inventory is full. That way, just in case you have to leave in a hurry, maybe you're in the middle of a fight and you need to dip through a portal to escape, you still have at least a mostly full inventory. When you're close to leaving, make sure every single spot in your inventory is full. No bandages, pots, arrows, campfires, anything. If it isn't looted, drop it. What you get from selling these lootables is going to be equivalent to, or even greater than, how much you lose in the value of dropping your arrows, your bandages, anything like that. More importantly, you're getting more AP. That's what we're focusing on. If you have a new armor that you can grab, equip it and drop your old armor. Especially if you don't have anything that's best in slot, you can then get something that is equal, maybe a little bit worse, but you're going to maximize that AP. This goes back to the idea of items being looted versus items being handled. Moving on, tip number 4 is to kill everything as fast as you can. This seems pretty obvious, but that's what you got to do. Killing enemies grant a varying amount of AP, anywhere from 4 to 8 AP, scaling on the enemy's XP that they grant. So your black skeletons are going to be worth more than your whites. With that, mini bosses also grant more AP, around 25 to 35 in my experience. So kill those, cheese them if you know how to, just get as much kills as you can. Maximize it. Keep moving. If you're in a party, you don't need to stick together. You can take one room, your 2 friends can go take others. Just kill as much as you can. If you are in a party, you are going to be sharing all of the kills, and so you want to make sure that everyone is just wiping out everything they can. Tip number 5 is to interact with everything imaginable. Opening chests, especially anything that's a higher level chest, your golden chests, anything like that, those are going to grant you higher AP. Along with that, make sure you're opening every single portal. Portals actually grant a decent amount of AP, so you want to hit all of them that you physically can. And don't forget to also grab all the shrines you see. Not just the healing shrines, but your movement, your protection, the power, all of them all count as interactions. But with that, you also want to make sure you're breaking boxes, barrels, and pots if your class is able to. If you're playing Barbarian, go crazy with Crush. You'll see Barbarians who are just sprinting through, destroying everything, because it can really rack up a decent amount of AP in a short amount of time. I even saw some rogues using the trap detection perk, so that way they could disarm them and get everything they physically can. Finally, and this is going to seem cheesy, but remember, this is the easiest path to Demigod. We are getting you there as fast as possible, as easy as possible. When you're in between floors, make sure you're interacting with torches. They give you a tiny bit of AP just from turning it off and back on again. Keep on doing that on repeat every time you're loading in. And if you're ever able to, just keep on interacting with things. It grants a tiny amount, but it adds up in the end. Finally, number 6, the last tip I've got for you guys is just survive and keep on grinding. It's going to take time. No matter how many tips and tricks you get, it will take time. But you can get there if you're dedicated. You're going to die, but you're also going to survive and make a ton of money and a lot of AP on it. So, good luck out there. Hopefully this guy's giving you a little bit of confidence on actually getting to demigod. I can tell you that, I'm not the most amazing player. I'm good, but I'm not amazing. But I was able to get to demigod, and so can you. As long as you have the time and energy, you can do it. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Hopefully this guide did help you out in some way, shape, or form. Maybe you learned something new. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Give it a like, or just don't. That's fine too. Go get that cloak. I know you're busy. No, I really think that getting to demigod is not the hardest thing in the world. It just takes a lot of time and dedication. And once you get there, hey, free cloak, baby. If this is a future season, hopefully everything stayed relevant, and hopefully we get even cooler cosmetics moving forward. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully you'll check out some of my other content. Typically I just do montages with funny moments and do a variety of games, but a lot of Dark and Darker recently. And I will be posting more in the future. So, yeah, feel free to check me out. And otherwise, appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.